You know what InfoWars' main job is? Hitting the barbed wire. Going up the hill first, not being afraid to be attacked. On 9/11, it was on the news. They were going to blow up the Solomon Brothers building, Building 7, to protect other buildings. They blew it up. And then people would say I was a conspiracy theorist, that they ever said blow it up. And I would go to New York, and I would sit there and interview people who all heard them say on the news, NPR, CBS, CNN, Fox News, the same thing. But Fox and all them wouldn't release the tapes. It was weird. But then years later, MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, they released all their tapes. And then BBC did, and it was all on the tape. An hour before, we're going to bring it down, we're going to blow it up. Then they announced it had fallen early. And then it hadn't fallen. And then boom, 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 it fell at free fall speed. And then NIST came out and said, actually, it did fall at free fall speed. Impossible from a fire collapse. Those are nearly impossible. And then I interviewed the deputy head of emergency management, who was basically told there's bombs, the building's going to be brought down. And 2 weeks later, Barry Jennings was dead. And then we sent reporters to his house on Long Island, and the family wouldn't talk, and everything was being loaded in a moving truck. They were relocated very quickly. Did he really even die? Or they come snatch him up and say, we're putting you into a super secret program. We're going to let you know what really happened. I don't know, but they said he died. Just like the D.C. Madam, just like Steak Knife, the British commando that on my show exposed that British intelligence ran the IRA, the violent element of it at the top. And I'm not here saying, we told you, we told you, we told you, but we're the ones that did it. And so on Saturday, I'm up here working. I called Buckley Hammond, Anthony Gucciardi, and Rob Dew in the morning, and I said, something big is about to happen. I want to have a big war game scenario in the conference room for at least 2 hours. I want to shoot special reports. And I sat in that office Saturday telling them something big's about to happen. They're all witnesses to it. And, of course, Scalia was already dead. It was that morning. I called him about 10. I was like, something big. And it's not that Scalia is that big. He's huge. But it's that they do it, and seismically what it means is that it's happening. Just like when you're sitting there at the park bench and you feel somebody looking at you, you turn around, and a person's 100 yards away staring right at you. You know, your sixth sense. I was just like, you got to come into the office. Something big's about to happen. And we were here for 7 hours preparing and planning and for scenarios of false flags and assassinations and a sense of urgency to the public. And then meanwhile, we're shooting Facebook mentions for 2 hours. And people keep saying, talk about Scalia, talk about Scalia, talk about Scalia. And I'm in this desperate 2-hour rant. It was like an hour and 50 minutes long. The video stopped once. It was in 2 parts. Live in the conference room with sweat running down. They weren't sweating. I had sweat running down me. It's 65 degrees in here, folks, and I'm sweating right now. That happens when I'm freaked out, okay? But my brain's going a million miles an hour. And all I can tell you is all hell's about to break loose. So then I'm driving home, and I'm listening to the radio, and they had just announced an hour and a half before that he was found dead, nothing to see here, looks like natural causes, which they never say. And I called Buckley, and I said, that's it. I got to come over to your place. I want to do another video. And I get up there, and I say, he's a key Supreme Court justice. There's more than 50 big cases. The Second Amendment hanging in the balance, our borders, our sovereignty, these UN treaties. He's not going along with Obamacare like the other Republicans that have reportedly been blackmailed. Clarence Thomas. I'd like to hear from him. I'll say this. Matt Drudge came here when he's only done like one other interview the last 5 years. Came here a few months ago to say, I've had dinner with the top Supreme Court justice, more than a dinner. He was with him for like a day. He told me the hammer's coming down next year. We've been threatened to basically go along with it. And he talked about this on air, and he told me more, obviously, at dinner. But Drudge was here because he's concerned. See, so the Sydney Morning Herald can make jokes, and hundreds of other newspapers can make jokes, and all these publications can make jokes. Anthony Scalia's death sets off hysteria, conspiracy theories. But it doesn't matter, see. I'm credible with the actual people that are in the real world who have dinner with multiple Supreme Court justices, and you wouldn't believe who else was in the room, talking about what you just saw happen. And so, and obviously, Drudge began to look into him being killed immediately because evidence was emerging. And Drudge is being criticized for that. You know, because he's the type of guy that has dinner with these people. See, because when you live in the real world like I do, and the military threatens to kill you if you keep talking about the NSA 18 years ago, oh, you learn that there is a tyranny. Then you learn the military has basically told the government, you have somebody else kill Jones. We're not going to do it. And by the way, information's going to leak about whoever kills him. You've heard Steve Pachinik on air, who's personally killed a lot of people himself, overthrown more than 8 governments, is on record for that, knew how to use psychological warfare to make the communists do what he wanted to in Italy. The list goes on and on. That's a real guy that co-wrote books with Tom Clancy. That's where Clancy got his info. Saying, yeah, there have, of course, been discussions about killing you at high levels, but they know there's people that support what you're doing that are going to leak if you're killed. Folks, there is a full-on war for the country right now. 110%. This isn't a radio show. This isn't entertainment. This isn't a game. This is an emergency transmission. I'm nothing but a Paul Revere, and I'm not special. I learned about this early on. I was a paleo libertarian conservative. I got on air, and I would talk about things other people wouldn't talk about, so I became a conduit for sources to put out their info. And I was willing to die to do it because my forebears were the same, and I'm cut from the same cloth, even though I grew up in a softer age. I have a will to survive, a will to not be overthrown, a will to not be a slave. And that's what made America great, was not rolling over. And so the reason I talk about myself or Matt Drudge and all of this is because I'm in this. I'm in this. I'm living in this. I talk to the retired generals. I talk to the people in the military currently high level. There are former heads of special forces and others. I've talked to 3, actually, some of the former heads of Army Special Forces before they got promoted above that, who have security details that they have to pay for around the clock. And let me tell you, boys and girls, it isn't for Al-Qaeda coming after them. You understand that, folks? There's already been a coup over America, and now they want to mop the states up. They're trying to indict Governor Abbott. They are trying to cook. They have already indicted his attorney general, who is suing Obama and brought the cases that are before Scalia on the open borders, on the gun grabbing, on the power plants. And they just said, you know what, we're going to indict you at dinner a year after you gave up your stock license, your securities license. You told people you thought a certain company ought to be a good investment. We're going to indict you for that while Hillary gets billions of dollars from foreign dictators in front of everybody to ship weapons to them. They can indict a ham sandwich. And you notice Abbott just came right out and said, come and take our guns. You're a tyrant. We need to get the states together. There's been basically a foreign takeover. And we need other governors to act just the same way. Folks, this isn't a game. Maybe they'll find the governor with a pillow over his face. Maybe that's the new thing. All these conservatives that are fighting back that are real conservatives, they're all being found with pillows over their faces. And then they announce, no autopsy. You know, in Arkansas, they would just have Fahmy Malek when people were found with their arms and legs cut off. In fact, we've got to get the Clinton insider on from Arkansas, Larry Nichols. Yeah. I don't even know what to say anymore to people. I mean, this is just going to get worse because the average American watches football all day. But there's a paradox happening here because as all of this is happening, the public says the U.S. government's the #1 threat to their freedom and future in Gallup, and that they support Congress 9%. They have identity politics with the Democrat and Republican Party, so some of those characters, you know, have 30, 40% approval ratings. But still, this government is illegitimate. It knows it's illegitimate, and it's busy trying to make you as poor as you possibly can. So you're so busy trying to get food, you can never organize any type of political resistance against what they've done. And then they're trying to set up a physical civil war so they have an excuse to run around arresting millions of people. And they publicly have built giant emergency, quote, centers for, quote, political dissidents and call them re-education camps. That's in the Army Manual, 2010. You say, yeah, that's scarier than FEMA camp. That's the colloquial name. Normally, with 1984 stuff, they'd call it a fun camp like Hillary did or something. No, they call it a re-education center. Re-education center. And they just hope you don't go search engine, Army document re-education center, Army document resettlement center. I mean, they actually want to have a giant civil war, and they think the gun owners and people are going to roll over in it when the shooting starts, and that's not going to happen. I cannot even. That's why you've got thousands of sheriffs now coming out and saying, we're not turning the guns in, don't try to take them. I was talking to a gentleman who's prominent in a Utah town, and I'm not going to report on this yet, but it was when Jade Helm happened, and the Army was on the streets, and he talked to the county people and others. I'm going to stop there. And it was exactly what we have on tape under Clinton in Hebron, Maryland, in Police State 2000, where they got the local Boy Scouts to run around for the Marines and train them to go in and identify how many guns their parents have in their house and to come back and report it to the Marines on paper. And we even have the kids reporting back to the Marines. And then our camera guy, the Marines come over with their rifles and the state police and try to take their footage. We have it on video, so I don't need to hear it from this fellow, who, by the way, had not seen my film. I was sitting there listening to him. And it's someone I've known for years, and it's someone who's very credible, and it's someone who's prominent in his area. And he said, yeah, it was crazy. Was it an imminent takeover? No. But a few months before that, they had more than 30 sheriffs in Utah come out and say, we're not letting you take the guns. If you try to confiscate them, we're going to physically fight you. You've seen these different state judges and stuff in Texas say the same thing. That's because they're privy to what I'm privy to and things I'm not privy to. This is an open secret. Now, the Special Forces isn't just doing this to be friends and some psyop. They are totally freaked out, and they're like, it's all true. I have senior-level police, senior-level military people, you name it, sit there and look at me and hang on every word and go, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, yes, yes. And I'm a 42-year-old talk show host. Okay? It's just people won't stand up. There's no leadership because it's so fantastical. But these police and military, they're in there. They're getting the training at a level 50 times what it was under Clinton because they're getting ready to go operational. And killing Scalia. Okay, they didn't kill Scalia, and Hillary won 6 swing caucuses in a row, and she lost by 20 points in New Hampshire, but she won more delegates. Okay, there's nothing wrong here. Everything's fine. Go back to sleep. Obama has announced the borders are open, illegally outside of law. The Border Patrol union head has gone public. It's all admitted. We have it on video ourselves. Doesn't matter, though. We're not under a tyranny. You're right, Sydney Morning Herald. You're right, Media Matters. You're right, White House run. You're right. Nothing's happening. I'm going to come back and actually go through all the articles and actually, I saw another disinfo thing in the news. They tried Sunday to say I was a liar in a bunch of news and that there was no pillow over the face article. Even in the comment section of the very San Antonio Express News, even on my site and even on other newspapers, they said, Jones claims he had a pillow. I didn't say that. The guy that reportedly found him said that. See how they operate? Hoping you don't actually go look at the facts for yourself. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs, sourced from powerful organic herbs, and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super male vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your super male vitality.